You really can't discuss the Royal Rumble without, I think, the greatest Royal Rumble that we've ever seen, the greatest Royal Rumble moment, the greatest post-match interview in history with the greatest wrestler to have ever laced up his boots and stepped into the squared circle. And I am talking about the one and only Ric Flair. It's 1992, the Royal Rumble. Flair has come back onto the scene in 91. He's left WCW. He showed up with that big gold belt and he declared himself the real world's champion. Okay. Now, we've seen him in the ring. We've seen him having some feuds. We've seen him interfering with the likes of Hogan and Undertaker at Survivor Series, helping Undertaker get the win and to get the belt put on him for the first time. We see Flair establishing this opportunity to set up a phenomenal match and rivalry with Hulk Hogan. Well, we end up going into this 92 Royal Rumble and the belt's vacated. The title is sitting on the shelf, and we get word that the winner of the Royal Rumble will be crowned the new WWF World Heavyweight Champion. Well, Flair saw his opportunity, but Flair enters at number 3, okay? You don't win the Royal Rumble when you get the number 3 slot, okay? You can't survive that long. Flair is not a young man at this point. Flair's got miles on those tires. Flair's running low on tread. The gas tank is not full anymore. But he enters the Royal Rumble with a chip on his shoulder, okay? He's been told that he can't draw money. He's been told that he's not a main eventer anymore. He's been told you need to cut your hair and we're going to call you Spartacus and we're going to rebrand the Nature Boy. WCW made him feel less than what he should have ever felt. We're talking about the greatest of all time. We're talking about the Rolex wearing, the jet flying, the limousine riding, the kiss stealing, willing and dealing. By God, it's hard holding these flops down, by God. Woo! I am the Nature Boy. He walked in to that Royal Rumble with a mission. He wanted to prove he could have went to Vince and said, I want number 30. I want number 25. No, what he did instead was put me in number 3. I got something to prove. And I hope Jim Hurd's watching. I hope all of WC. I hope Ted Turner's watching. I hope all of WCW's watching. I hope all of Atlanta is watching this. And Flair went in there at number 3. He lasted for over 60 minutes. He eliminated people like Roddy Piper, Hercules. Hercules is like 10 times the size of freaking Flair. Okay? He can bench Flair's body weight 100 times. Flair still eliminates him. And then it comes down to he survives the chaos involving Sid Justice, I call him Sid Vicious, and Hulk Hogan. And when all the dust cleared, there was one man that stood. And he stood above them all. He wasn't the biggest. He wasn't the strongest. He didn't have the 6-pack abs. He didn't have the biggest arms and the 24-inch pythons. The vitamins he was taking are prescription grade only. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nature Boy stood in the middle of that ring after maybe at the time, the greatest win he ever had. The most important win, I think. The one that mattered the most to him in that moment. Bobby Heenan, he sold Flair's desperation throughout that match better than anyone. And then we could see it and feel it at the end. And then Ric Flair does something amazing. He's absolutely exhausted after winning the title. And he's holding that winged eagle. And he cuts a promo that was directed straight towards the office there in Atlanta. He looked right into the eyes of Jim Herd. He looked right into the eyes of Ted Turner. He looked right into the eyes of everyone who ever doubted him. Shame on the man that cut his hair. If I was his barber, I would have said absolutely not, Flair. Shame on them for ever thinking that the Nature Boy was done, that Ric Flair needed to be rebranded. Absolutely not. 1992 Royal Rumble proved exactly who Ric Flair was. He was a 60-minute man. He is the real world's champion. And in that night, he put that wing eagle belt around his waist, and he walked out of that arena knowing holding his head higher than ever, without a doubt in his head that he was the man. 92 Royal Rumble, it's my favorite. And it helped establish that serious main event storytelling. It's one of the greatest single match performances in WWE history. That was one of the notes I wrote, like just one of the greatest, in my opinion. There's moments that happen in matches where you don't even realize it in the time, but later on you realize, holy crap, that became something they repeated and that they tried to replicate. You can't ever get the same amount of juice the second time you squeeze a fruit, but there's still a little bit of juice there. But that first time you squeeze that orange juice, that's when you maximize the amount of juice that comes out of that orange. And in 1995, baby, we got Shawn Michaels, and we got one of the greatest moments in Royal Rumble history. Shawn Michaels gets thrown over the top rope. He's got to get eliminated, right? Well, as soon as he went over, the Bulldog thought, I finally did it. I won. My moment. This is it. But in Shawn Michaels fashion, only one foot hit the ground. You see, you got to get two. And in this moment, the rules are now part of the storyline where we're all confused. Wait a minute. He was eliminated. What do you mean he's coming back in? What do you mean he gets to keep going? I thought his foot hit the ground. No, wait a second. You need 2 feet to hit the ground. I'll be daggum. Now the rules are part of the match. They're part of the storyline. So Shawn Michaels does what he does best. He breaks hearts. Davey Boy turns around, and there's Shawn. The part that people forget throughout that whole 1995 Royal Rumble, they remember the 1 foot. They remember the super kick. He entered number 1, ladies and gentlemen. He was the first person to walk into the ring that night. You think that you're not supposed to win at number 3? Try number 1. That means you're there all night long. You're in that ring the entire time. He only wrestled for about 30, looking up, it was 38 minutes is what he ended up wrestling. But he went bell to bell. And if that bell to bell is freaking 30 minutes or 60 minutes or 90 minutes or just 38 minutes, it's still bell to bell. You survived. You survived against 29 other powerhouses, especially Davey Boy. He eliminated people like Owen Hart and Greg the Hammer Valentine. He had a hell of a night. And he had a moment that we've tried to recreate ever since. This will be, 31 years since that one? And 31 times since. We have tried to get the 1 foot to hit and to get the same pop and the same reaction and the same craziness. It's a little expected now, and that's unfortunate. But Shawn did it first, and he did it better than anyone else, in my opinion. Funny part about all of that, too, was, and I wrote this down, the watch the feet psychology. What ends up happening now is you'll get a guy that goes over, and if he's hanging, the commentator will say, watch his feet, watch his feet, watch the feet. Do they both touch? And we'll always get that camera angle. We're going to get it this Saturday. I swear. Who do you think is going to be the person that goes over, that hangs there, and his feet don't touch? Who do you think is going to be? Of course, we're all going to be, thinking that maybe, our favorite wrestler is going to win. And then, a big name like a LA Knights or whatever, Logan Paul's, whoever is going to be that person, that commentary is going to happen. It's going to happen. Their feet are going to be this close to hitting the mat. We're going to get that close-up camera angle. It's going to happen. Happens every year, it seems like. Guarantee it's going to happen this year. But remember, when you're watching it, just remember 1995, Shawn Michaels, first one to do it. He established it. He established it as a big moment. Rules became part of the storyline. Now, number 5 for me is Mount Rushmore guy for me. He's the face of the Attitude Era. And when you think about Royal Rumbles, a lot of novice fans don't really think about this guy. But he's the only 3-time winner. 1997, 1998, and 2001, we're talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin, the rattlesnake himself. He ended up, throughout his 3 wins, he eliminated the likes of The Rock, Triple H, Kane, Vader, Hall of Famers, okay? And all 3 wins led directly to him having a WrestleMania main event match. It made where the Attitude Era, these are the smartest fans the industry has ever seen at this point, okay? These fans are just crazy. They needed the Royal Rumble to matter more than any other era because they went into it as they loved seeing these one-on-one matches or these tag team matches with the likes of the Hardys and the Dudleys and Christian and Edge and all this, right? Like they needed it to matter and for it to be a real storyline. We were living in these stories. These stories were being talked about at the water coolers on Monday mornings and on Tuesday mornings especially. So we needed a good story. We needed a good storyline. And we needed another Hulk Hogan to establish this thing for this next generation. Stone Cold definitely did that. He took that torch in 1997, back to back in 98. And then 3 years later, does it again in 2001. And now you've got your biggest star that's actually out there winning it, which makes it must watch. People have to watch at that point if they know that Stone Cold's going to be in it. Stone Cold did what he did best. He came in, it was a bar fight. You think about it, the Royal Rumble is built for Stone Cold. It is a bar fight. That's all it is. It's a massive bar fight. I've been on one bar fight, but two my entire life. It's chaos. It didn't become chaos for me in that sense. It wasn't 30 men fighting each other, but it could become chaos. And dadgum Stone Cold Steve Austin. He seems like the type of guy that's been in a few bar fights. He seems like the type of guy that likes chaos too. You know what I mean? He took that aggressive time, that era during the Attitude Era, that aggressiveness that we had, and he applied it to the Royal Rumble. What was a battle royal of a bunch of guys beating each other up? He said, let's make this a bar fight. That's what he did. That, to me, is the perfect person for a Royal Rumble, if you ask my opinion. So in baseball, we have Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. In professional wrestling, we have Mr. January, and that's Stone Cold Steve Austin, 3-time Royal Rumble champion. He made it feel like it was a main event title match. That's what Stone Cold did. He made you feel something. He made you believe it. When he was in the ring, wrestling was real.